Hector Neris to the Cubs. The guarantee is 1 year, $9 million. There is an option, and it's a club option unless he hits 60 appearances, then it's a player option. And also with some incentives, it could end up being like a 2-year, $23.5 million deal, but it only gets $9 million on a 1-year guarantee coming off a season when he had a 1.71 ERA, a 2.46 ERA plus in 68 and a third innings, 71 appearances. Did the Cubs just get themselves a little steal?
Not as much as you think.
I thought he was going to get more than that.
If you look at what Stevenson and Chapman and some other guys got, I feel like, yeah, maybe. I mean, it depends on how he pitches. If the option picks up, it gets a little more what you thought he would get. 23, that's almost 12 a year. That's a little different than just the 9, but it's a good signing for the Cubs. And if he pitches the way he did for Houston last year, pretty good.
I mean, Todd Father, Robert Stevenson got 3 years, $33 million. Chapman got double-digit money. David Robertson's deal is a little unique because there were deferrals in it, but I still think it was a drop higher than what Neris got. So why do you think all these dudes get more? I mean, Neris is going to be in his age 35 season. Velocity was down a tick and change last year, but I think he's pretty damn good when I watch him.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think they did get a steal here. Did he have other teams in play? Now we got to question that as well, because I think a lot more teams would have came on board if they knew about this. I mean, $9 million for a superb reliever that can go 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. I know he has the 2-pitch mix, but it's been lethal all through his whole career. There's been spurts of him getting hit around, but guess what? He's a nice back end bullpen piece. I'm not really a fan of that bottom part where it says turns into a player option at 60. So, if they're getting close and all of a sudden, they're up 10 games in the division, are they like, we're just going to rest you? Like, so that's, to me, that's a little tricky at the end of the day. But yeah, I feel like they got a steal here.
You can file a grievance if they did that, but I know what you're saying.
I've seen teams do it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
I lived it 1 year. I saw a team I was on release a guy, and he was 1 away from a big number. They released him.
Ain't that something?
Pitcher?
Mm-hmm.
Appearances?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us the name or no?
Yeah, it starts with at and ends with Lana.
Oh. What about the player?
Starts with A and ends with Arjma.
David. Wow. I got to look back to that. Was that publicized or kind of snuck under the radar?
2015.
He went starts with A, ends with Arjma.
Well, it's AAR, so.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Well, if this is not public info, guarantee you it gets
public.
picked up.
I mean, it was kind of a
Was
big
it public?
deal.
Did he?
Because he was like, he came in 2015, and we traded away everybody. And we were like 40-40. We traded away like the whole team. And he came in and was doing a great job for us. I mean, he was like one of our, because we had all like rookies after we made all these trades. And it was like, and I had played with Arjma in San Francisco and the White Sox. This is my 3rd team with him. And I was like, oh, great. This guy, great to see him coming back, this and that. And it gets to like, he literally was 1 game away. He came back from road trip. I'll never forget. We came back from a road trip, and he was 1 game away from like 6-figure starting to kick in. And they're like, wow, we're gonna DFA you today. And everyone was like, huh?
And he wasn't even pitching poorly.
No, he was pitching. He was one of our better relievers.
Wow.
I mean, I got to look it up, but listen, there was some surprise people.
This is bigger news than all the sightings.
He's got to make the grievance, though, so it's like it would have been heard of more if he did, I think, right?
I mean, that was the last time he pitched. I mean, he had a 4.7, but 30 innings, 25 hits, 35 strikeouts.
On a bad team.
On a terrible team. And then he never pitched again after that, which is amazing. But yeah, he got DFA'd. Oh, now I got to look at the transactions when he got DFA'd. But
well, because he hadn't pitched in the big leagues since 2013 with the Mets. Pops back up with Atlanta. Makes sense that they would throw some incentives on it, Todd Father, to be like, hey, if you pitch.
Released on September 1st by the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah. September call-up. Sorry, bud.
There was a guy. There was a guy that needed like 18 at bats, and then he wanted to pinch hit. They didn't let him pitch hit, and he went up there on his own and pinch hit, and everybody in the dugout nobody said a word. It was the funniest thing in the world.
They didn't want to pitch it?
No, I felt like because they didn't want to get him, because if he needed I think he needed like a certain amount of the bats to get another incentive, and he said, screw this, I'm going, and he just he told the guy that was on deck to go back in the dugout, and he did. And he went up there, 3 pitches, strike 3, got another bat in now.
But he didn't get to his number.
No, they ended up trading him before that happened.
That's kind of epic, though. He just said,
That's
sit
awesome.
down.
That reminds me of Eric Milton. Remember Eric Milton back in the day?
Yeah.
He had some big incentive where he needed like 200 innings. And he was like 2/3 short. And Tom Kelly, our manager, was like, he let him pitch in relief to hit the number. He brought him in the last day. It started a couple of days before. But like things like that happen a lot. Remember CC lost one because he drilled a guy?
Yes.
Lost like $500,000 one year or
something. Then they gave it to him.
He gave it to him. Yeah. So there are instances of this kind of stuff happening, but you know, it gets shady, especially like let's say the Cubs are in a pennant race. You know, I know Todd said they're 10 games up. Let's say they're only like a game or two, and then they won't go to Craig Counsell and be like, hey man, we need to save this player option. Don't pitch one of your best relievers, would they?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay, good.
Football, they do it all the time at the end of the game, man. Listen, what's the name needs 5 more receptions. Let's get it to him. Then, like, there's a minute left. Hike, throw it to the guy real quick, even though you're up 14 points. It doesn't matter. And then he takes a knee. Like, I've seen it before. Like, it's crazy.
Todd, most of the NFL games in that last week, 17, don't matter, right? So the most exciting thing for most people is watching those individual accomplishments. They're like, oh, is he going to get the sack? And then you see him get the sack, and he won like $1 million, and you're like, let's go.
We're not even going to acknowledge the Chiefs and the 49ers.
Yeah, we can
play in the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, good. Okay. Bravo. Patrick Mahomes, again, you made the wrong decision. You should have been a pitcher like Daddy.
Yeah.
You would have been a legend.
Yeah, really?
Obviously, I'm kidding.
I think he made the right decision.
Come on, Pat. Baseball, one time.
Kind of like Kyler Murray made the right decision.
He actually did financially.
Kyler Murray?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely he did.
Gosh, he'd still be in the Oakland A's minor league system.
But he still wouldn't be getting paid.
No. Kyler Murray would have like, I don't know, 40 grand in career earnings versus, he gets 40 grand a snap probably. So anyway, we're totally on topic, but back to Neris for 1 second. So, okay, I think we all agree he got paid a little less than anticipated. Remember, his agent or whoever was putting out there, he wanted a 3-year deal, $50 million, didn't even touch that.
No.
I think it's a nice pickup, but where are we at with the Cubs?
I mean, it helps.
Yeah.
Another piece for their bullpen, which was their major problem at the end of the year last year. But, I mean, it's not a hater signing. It's not a game changer. It's kind of like who did we say was man the other day that we were talking about? Somebody was like, nice.
Jock Peterson?
Jock Peterson.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay. It helps their offense, but we were looking for JD Martinez, Jorge Soler.
Yes. This is like it helps the Cubs bullpen, but it's not like, they got that lockdown closer now in the 9th, and you're like, okay, everyone like, yeah, we got Josh Hader, we got whoever, we got Mariano, we got somebody, we got Trevor Hoffman.
He might close games, by the way.
Who, Neris?
Yeah.
No, they got the one guy.
Alzolay?
Yeah, is that the guy?
Yeah, but he's gotten hurt a lot in his career. I've owned him in fantasy leagues. He's great, but I'm saying Neris is probably your backup now.
Yeah.
Leiter had a really good year for them last year. Merriweather's pretty good. They acquired Yency Almonte in the deal with the Dodgers. They're remaking their bullpen.
They have to.
And they signed Carl Edwards Jr. to a minor league deal.
It was good for them a few years ago.
He was actually pretty good last year with the Nats. He was only on a minor league deal. So this is actually playing out to what they said, Todd. I don't know if you were on the show with us when I was kind of pissed. I heard Carter Hawkins on an interview, who's their GM. He's the guy right below Jed Hoyer. He was very well-spoken, great personality, but he just was saying how he was essentially saying they're looking for bargains. Well, they're doing it, so I got to give them credit there.
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody's looking for. I think if we go through the deals that are made, we've been through a bunch of them. We're like, not bad. Okay. We haven't really we've talked about money, but in favor of the player. I think this one might be the only one so far where we're like, he left a little meat on the bone there, to get what he really wanted. Maybe it's too late because, spring training starts in 3 weeks, but I don't know. I felt like maybe he could have waited a little more time, maybe got, even something a little closer, a little more guaranteed.
Here's my thing. Like the Cubs aren't buying for his last year. I feel like they're buying for his career. Like last year he had a 1.7 ERA. Okay. But before that, 3.7, 3.01, 5.10. There's a 2.93 in there, 4.57, 3.63. 2022, he was a 3.72. So they're buying, assuming he's a career 3.2 ERA, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But they're not buying the 171. It doesn't seem like anybody was, right? So they're buying what they feel is a above average reliever that can come out and give them. I mean, he takes the ball. Listen, you go.
He's very durable.
79, 74, 53, 68, 20, 20 will throw out. 74, 70, 71. So if 60 is the number, I mean, unless he gets hurt, he's hitting that number.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you might as well just chalk that up. So basically, the deal looks a lot better when you look at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
For him and for the Cubs.
And you're projecting forward. I mean, he's about to be in his 35th season. The velo was down. That's what teams start to look at. Because I was like, why does he get less than Aroldis Chapman? But Rosenthal put out a nice piece on that. He's like, Chapman's stock was rising again with the velo going back up and his stuff playing up again this past season. So anyway, the relievers and that whole carousel keeps spinning.